Welcome, you're watching Vox News, your daily evening news with Rita Kamkumo. Our headlines today: Lesotho's former First Lady Messiah Tabani, who's been charged over the murder of her husband's first wife, was released from jail this Tuesday. Gabon officially decriminalized homosexuality in a highly controversial vote, sparking an outcry from traditionalists. The Democratic Republic of the Congo remembers national hero Patrice Lumumba as the country marks its 60th independence anniversary. Our top story today: Lesotho's former First Lady, 43-year-old Messiah Tabani, who's been charged over the murder of her husband, former Prime Minister Thomas Tabani's first wife, was released from prison on bail on Monday after spending 3 weeks in jail. Messiah Tabani was released on a 10,000 Maloti bail, or about $580, and returned home this Tuesday. The judge warned her against interfering with witnesses and instructed her to report to her local police station regularly. The news of Messiah Tabani's release comes after the Lesotho police claimed earlier this month that Thomas Tabani and his wife paid killers 400,000 Maloti, or $24,000, to murder his former wife so that Messiah Tabani could become the First Lady of the kingdom. Both the former Prime Minister and his wife have denied any involvement in the murder. Homosexuality is no longer considered a crime in Gabon, a week after the National Assembly amended the criminal legislation by removing a paragraph prohibiting same-sex sexual relationships. The Senate also voted on Monday to decriminalize homosexuality, a move that sparked an outcry as numerous politicians and religious leaders reacted angrily to the decriminalization of a measure that they believe aims at appeasing foreign donors, arguing that homosexuality goes against local social and religious norms. Until now, the law introduced by the Upper House and the Senate in July 2019 considered gay relationships an offense against morality, punishable by up to 6 months in prison and a fine of 5 million CFA francs, or about $8,000. However, on Monday, the majority of senators in the Upper House voted to reverse the law. It will become effective once President Ali Bongo Ondimba ratifies it. On the political front in Malawi, newly invested President Lazarus Chakwera began naming his cabinet on Monday during his first day in office following his landmark victory in last week's presidential election rerun. The former evangelist preacher top appointments include lawyers who helped him win the historic court ruling that overturned his predecessor, Peter Mutharika's victory in May 2019 over fraud allegations, such as Mordecai Msiska, Chakwera's lead lawyer in the court case, who was named Justice and Constitutional Affairs Minister. Another lawyer involved, Chico Sasilungwe, was named Attorney General. Chakwera's ally and Vice President Saulos Chilima was also named Minister of Economic Planning and Development and Public Sector Reforms. The critical position of Finance Minister was given to experienced company executive Felix Mluzu, the former managing director of a Malawian multinational financial holding company. In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, President Felix Tshisekedi set the record straight on Monday as political tensions were escalating within the government coalition over judiciary reforms proposed by supporters of its predecessor, Joseph Kabila, who hold the vast majority in parliament. The president firmly rejected the disputed judiciary reforms put forward by his partners in the ruling coalition, which include proposals to redefine the powers of judges. The head of state stated that he would not let any political nor parliamentary majority jeopardize the founding principles of the republic nor harm the judiciary. The president highlighted that judiciary reforms must not be dictated by the will to ensure the protection of a person or a group of people, but by the desire to bring more efficiency to the functioning of justice. In Nigeria, the government gave its green light on Monday for the reopening of schools for children in exam classes while allowing cross-country travel as of July, despite fears over the increasing number of positive coronavirus cases. A set of restrictions, including the ban on public gatherings, mandatory mask wearing, and the closure of international borders, remain in place. In Tanzania, all schools of the country reopened on Monday after 3 months of closure due to the coronavirus pandemic, following the reopening of universities and high schools earlier this month.
There has been great response from both students and teachers attending classes. Today, after a long break, you can see all classes are full of students. The lessons have started. Almost 90% of our students have arrived at school and they are happy to be back in school after a long holiday.
As teachers, we are making sure we are following all the guidelines set by our Ministry of Health in ensuring that we are protecting our students and ourselves as teachers against COVID-19. For example, we are making sure all are wearing masks and also that we have enough clean water tanks with sanitizers in the school compound. We are also making sure that both teachers and students are respecting 1 meter social distancing in class so as to avoid any spread in case someone has the coronavirus.
The total reopening of schools came as a relief for students.
I'm so happy to come back again to school because we have lost a lot of time at home doing nothing.
We still want to proceed with education because when we have staying at home, there is many things we have lost to learn. And if we are coming back to school, we can fill that gaps of what we had to learn.
I kindly ask that our parents stop worrying about us. Since the government has made sure that we are safe, the ministry has supplied our school with enough water tanks and sanitizer, but students are also advised to make sure that we are wearing masks when gathering, so parents should be less worried about us when it comes to coronavirus.
The reopening of schools decreed by President John Magufuli comes despite controversy over the lack of transparency on the spread of COVID-19 in the country after the government decided to stop publishing coronavirus data in April. Senegalese President Macky Sall decided on Monday to ease restrictions imposed since late March to stem the progression of coronavirus to support the economic growth, which could grow less than 1% this year from a 3% estimate in April as a result of the pandemic.
The case fatality rate in Senegal is 1.5% compared to an African average of 2.5% and a global average of 5.2%. Senegal has a recovery rate of 64.8% compared to an African average of 48% and a global average of 50%. Just as we can't let the virus take over our lives and our health, we can't let it take over the life and health of our economy either. Therefore, my dear compatriots, taking into account this twofold vital necessity, I have decided to lift the state of emergency and the corresponding curfew as of tomorrow, 30 June 2020, at 11 p.m.
Et le couvre-feu y afférent à compter de demain, 30 juin 2020 à 23 heures.
The president said the government is working on a support program to revive the economy and also decreed the resumption of international flights from the 15th of July under a health safety protocol. In Zimbabwe, the country's most significant nurses' union called for a strike on Monday, citing low salary that prevents them from meeting their basic needs. The Zimbabwe Nurses Association asked its 15,000 members to boycott work as the country is experiencing galloping inflation and a surge in coronavirus cases, with over 500 cases of contamination recorded so far, compared to 132 registered last month. According to the union, the average monthly income for state nurses in the country is 3,000 Zimbabwean dollars or 53 US dollars, which does not even allow them to travel to work. Zimbabwe is facing its worst economic crisis in over a decade, with scarcity in essential goods and the tumbling of the value of the Zimbabwean dollar, which surged to almost 800% in May. On the security front in Ivory Coast, residents of a commercial hub in the north of the country known as Feke are living in fear after a jihadist attack took place earlier this month, only 60 miles away from their homes. It was the first attack perpetrated by Islamic extremists in the country in over 4 years. Feke's mayor says he is worried for his city, which sits at a significant crossroad with direct routes to border crossings into Mali and Burkina Faso.
People are scared. Mali and Burkina Faso have experienced what happened. The people are afraid. I see the police patrolling the city. But the fear comes when you get told that the police have been killed, even though they are the ones protecting us.
Quand on dit on a tué gendarme, et puis, alors, c'est eux qui nous gardent.
On the 11th of June, a group of unidentified gunmen killed 12 Ivorian soldiers in an attack on a security post in Kafolo on the border with Burkina Faso.
When the attack in Kafolo took place, we were all afraid.
Fake residents worried that a jihadist revolt, which started in Mali in 2012, will cross into their country.
A long time ago, people came through here to tell us to always be careful. All those who come here to preach have asked us to be careful. Even the prefect called us to tell us that.
The attack in Kafolo was attributed to the Group for the Support of Islam and Muslims, an organization linked to Al-Qaeda, and was carried out by fighters from Burkina Faso and Mali who had based themselves in the area, according to security sources. Finally, as the Democratic Republic of the Congo marks its 60th anniversary of independence from 75 years of Belgian colonial rule, this Tuesday, citizens remember the legacy of independence leader and national hero Patrice Lumumba.
Lumumba is the symbol of hope for us young Congolese because he represents a lot. He is a patriot who gave his life for the development of the country. He is a patriotic example for us young Congolese so that after our studies, we can dedicate our lives for the country.
And yet, 60 years after Lumumba's historical June 1960 speech that launched the country's independence, his supporters lament that Europe's most significant and geostrategic colony is yet to achieve economic freedom.
To be a Lumumbist today is to lead the fight so that the Congo is free to choose its economic partners according to the Congo's own interests, which is not always the case.
Lumumba died aged 35, tortured before being executed in the Katanga province, along with two of his supporters, on the 17th of January 1961. To this day, the first prime minister of the country, who led the Congolese National Movement Party from 1958 until his death, remains a martyr for the fight against colonialism and Western imperialism. That's it for today. Thank you for watching Vox News.